Welcome back to another episode of the Account for Your Life podcast. I'm Jay Moore, the Healthy Accountant, helping you to account for your life. And today, when all you have is today, what do you do? All you got is today. You don't have yesterday, and you don't have tomorrow. You just have today. This podcast is inspired by my cousin Oscar Anderson, who passed away yesterday, and it's just kind of wild when things happen and then you try and make sense of it. But when I look at what God is preparing, me for, you for, what is God preparing you for, and what do we have to go through? So today is the day. So we're just going to kind of jump into this conversation of today and why today is the most important 24 hours. Like these 24 hours that we get to actually be in today is the blessing of all blessings. So let's get in. And this is more one of these conversations where I'm literally this is a new concept, because a lot of times we're looking to tomorrow. We were thinking about yesterday. We're not actually thinking about right now. So as I'm, processing this and looking at what God was preparing me for. Case in point, check this out. So at the beginning of the month, I heard God, and he was just like, June is good. This is a good month. This is a good month. Now, almost for the past 6 or 7 years, I've heard God in June. I've heard him say something in June that typically led to something else. And usually it was things that I wouldn't have expected. Like, I got the news of a mentor passing away on this past Friday. And that was like, what? Get the news of my cousin passing away this morning. But here's what I heard God say at the beginning of the month. I just heard him say loss. There's going to be some loss. And the first thing I said was, no, no. Don't listen, man. Listen, we could do without all that. Because I mean, honestly, who's waking up in the morning saying that they are ready for a loss? I mean, ready to get a call and say that a cousin passed, a friend passed, a family member, whatever. No one wants that call. No one wants that call. Even people that are dealing with something that could be potentially leading to death, many times still not prepared. So here's what I'm going to take away, man. I'm just going to do my best today to articulate what today looks like for me. And maybe when you get time, you can think about what today looks like for you. Recently, written books. And I've said things like, hey, man, I really want these books to get into the right hands. In essence, I want them to sell. I just, it's not that I just want it. I'm like, if God put this in me to do it, then there must be like that next level in the assignment. And so as I look at it, I says, well, then that means that for anything that I like I want God to do, then there's a role that I have to do. There's a role that you have to do. When we pray and ask God for whatever we ask God for, or when we're thinking that God has blessed us in an area, there's a blessing that God has put on us, but then there's a doing that we must do. And that's the part sometimes we're waiting on God to reveal the whole thing so that we can say, there's the blessing. I knew I was going to get blessed. I knew it was coming. When God is like, you got a part in this. You got the 24 hours that you get every day. So what are you going to do in 24 hours? And I think this is the part where if I was thinking about my past, I would say, man, this is probably where I've fallen short on some of the doingness associated with the blessings that I know God is doing and has done in my life. I've fallen short there. You know, think of it for yourself. Is there anybody here who needs something? Anybody needs something? Ask yourself, what do I need? What is it that I actually need? And I want you to write down all the needs that you have. Needs. And then I want you to say to yourself, well, what is the participation? What or how should I be participating in the needs that I'm saying that I personally have? So once I can identify the needs, then how do I participate to ensure that some level of those needs are met? I have to participate, right? And say, for instance, God gives me an idea. God gave me an idea for yet another book. So here's the thing. And the thing about that other book, and I'm not going to really share the essence of what that book is yet. That other book is almost like a results book of what I've been talking about, preaching about, saying for the past however how many years. It's a results book. And because it's a results book, when there's results that has to be shared, then you have to actually have the results. And then you say, well, man, so how do you do that? So when I'm thinking about this construct of yesterday, of tomorrow, and I then come back to today and I says, well, what do I need to do today? I need to sell 10 books a day. Like, I need 10 books to move every single day. That's what's that? 30 days. I mean, that's 300 books every month. You know, that ain't bad. You know, that's a few books moving. That's not like a New York Times bestseller. It's probably in the 1% of books being moved, because a lot of times most people don't sell 500 books. So, you know, if you've got 300 books moving, and that number will go, if you got 300 books moving, now the 10 is what I can do. The 10 is probably what I can do. I can probably do 10 tomorrow. Meaning I can email, I can call, I can text, I can reach out, I can promote. Like, I can do everything in my personal power to probably get those 10 books moved every day. But here's the thing about that. The thing about that is it takes effort. It takes effort, especially when you say to yourself, man, you know, if you say something like, I'm not a salesperson. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. Maybe somebody else will say, I'm not saying I'm not a salesperson, because I don't mind doing sales. It's just that when you accept responsibility for something, then you actually have to produce whatever the responsibility is. So if the responsibility is God gave me an idea, then I produce the idea. God gives me the idea. We produce this idea out. We make a book. Then God is like, okay, well, you get started. You know, you show me how convicted you are of what it is that you're doing. See, because God is interesting. And when I say God, you know, I'm just saying that the way that God set up the system of production or sowing and reaping, you got to sow. And usually you got to oversow. It's kind of like when I remember some years ago, like we had like our grass would never get green. It just looked terrible. It was horrible. And it wasn't until we got a company to come and fertilize and to seed all year long. All they do is fertilize. All they do is treat. And then every year they seed and they seed. And what's happened over the past few years is that, one, when it's not like super hot and sunny, like right now it's hot and sunny, it burns the grass up. But when it rains, in the springtime, that thing is beautiful. It's green. It's like, wow, but it took time. It took a lot of effort to get the ground to produce this green grass. And a lot of times we just want the green grass. We just assume that grass will stay green in all situations, and that's not happening. Grass will not stay green. Like right now, we got good grass, but our grass is not green right now because unless we're just going to spend a lot of money to water, which we don't have to do that'd be a waste of money. It's no sense. We got 90-degree heat, sun coming right down on our grass. No, the grass is not going to be green. Now, and like we're in the sun. If our grass was not in the sun, we'd have green grass. It could be hot as it wants, but as long as the sun is not beating it up, it's good to go. So, but in general, a lot of times with this grass, the grass was not green even when it rained. We didn't have good grass. We had patches. It was crabgrass. It was mostly weeds. Now the weeds are gone. We don't have all those weeds in our grass anymore. It's just grass now. But it took an effort and it took time. It probably took a good 3 years for the ground to really get fertile to where it turned into good dirt, because the dirt was not great. When they build a new home community, a lot of times they have to, they bring in this weird dirt. It's not topsoil. A lot of times it's called clay. They just bring in this stuff. They just bring it in just to kind of fill in a lot of the stuff. They do put some down, but at the end of the day, usually what they do is then they come in with the side and they just put it down. And that's the starter of the grass. And here's the thing. What's underneath the side is terrible. So how does this? It takes that grass won't the roots won't take a hold to what's down in there, because it's like, God, we don't have anything to grab onto. So that's why it required so much work to keep that grass to stay green. So what are we talking about today? We're talking about, right, when all you have today, when all you have is today, what do you do? Because we've gotten to the point in our life and our journey where we realize the past is the past and we cannot look back. And we got to the point where we realize that tomorrow is a construct of actually passing responsibility. And we're no longer going to pass responsibility to tomorrow. We're going to use today to do all that we can. It says in Matthew 6:34, after, like in 33, it says, seek first the kingdom of God and all these things will be added to you. Then it says, do not worry about tomorrow. So take no thought, in one version, take no thought of tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry all of its own. Like there's enough problems. There's enough problems for you not to even be considering what's going to happen tomorrow. So as I'm just kind of processing the fact that it's kind of wild, because my cousin Oscar, who passed away, he lives in Oklahoma, and he had come back to New Jersey, where he's from, on the East Coast, comes back to New Jersey to help his daughter, is in a terminal illness. So he's helping her and trying to get her moved to someplace, and he just so happened to pass away here in his hometown. See, because there's nobody in Oklahoma. Like if he would have passed away in Oklahoma, that would have been probably a lot harder for the family to deal with. One, is getting his body, moving it, because we probably have to bring it all the way back east. And so the Lord knew what he was doing, right? The Lord knew that, hey, he thought he was coming to New Jersey for one thing, but he was coming to New Jersey to lay down his life yesterday. He was coming to New Jersey on his final assignment. And his final assignment was to do something for his daughter, whom I think for years, like he didn't have a great relationship early on. But those relationships got mended, and he was working on, he was being a better father, even though I don't think he was a good, I don't really know, but he wasn't there all throughout her life. So when I look at today, right, I look at today and I say, today is the day. I look at tomorrow and I says, hey, I got nothing to do with tomorrow, and I don't have anything to do with yesterday. Today is all we have. So my admonition to anyone who listens to this podcast today is this: own the time that you have today. Look at your surroundings. Look at the needs that you say that you have. Look at the opportunities that you have right now. Don't say to yourself, look, I cannot do it. Say to yourself, I can do all things through Christ who gives me this amazing strength and power, because God's given us all a measure of faith. God has given us all strength to do the things that we can do. Do not pass responsibility anywhere except to yourself. Accept the responsibility of where you are. Where are you in your health? Where are you in your finances? Where are you in your relationships? Where are you in your spirituality? Like, where are you? And say to yourself, wow, I'm not doing well in these areas. If there's an area that you're not doing well, that means, what that means is we've allowed yesterday to probably, take a hold of us and make us believe things. And then we allow tomorrow to be a way to say, well, at least tomorrow something can change. When it's not tomorrow, it's today. It's taking today and saying, you know what, my spiritual life is really terrible, man. And I really need to get my life more connected to God. How do you do that? I did a few years ago, I was working in ministry at church, and I showed a demonstration of how being connected to God looks like. And what happens in this connection is that we go to church, we get baptized, and when we're getting baptized, what that means is we're plugging ourselves into the power outlet. Think about that. You plug yourself into the power, which is God. Here's what happens when you plug into the power. There's a lot of power coming through that outlet. And so what happens is our plug goes in, and when the power comes back through the challenges, through the problems, through the circumstances, it pushes us out. Poof. And so what happens is it pushes us out. Imagine plugging your phone up so that it can charge, and you put it in, and then for some reason it comes out, and it's just, and I'll show it like this. Here's my microphone. It's on here, but then it's not. Is it going to get charged? No. There will be no charging up if it's not all the way on the thing. So it's got to be all the way in. So once it comes out, there's no charge coming through. And that's what happens to a lot of Christians. They get baptized, they get plugged in, and then they get bounced out, and they think they're plugged in, and they're not. They're out of the plug. So we have to plug ourselves in and realize that when that power comes through, those circumstances, those situations, these tragedies, that's when we got to know this is all for the glory of the Lord. This was the glory of the Lord. And so being connected spiritually, our relationships, our finances, this is another major area where we are disconnected. We're so disconnected from the success in our finances. But here's the thing, it just takes making a decision and saying that today is the day that I work on what I should work on to produce the results that I know that I desire. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to focus on today. I hope that today you realize that there's no more yesterdays. There's no more tomorrows. It's only today. Allow today to be your way into the future that you know you ultimately desire by doing all that needs to be done today. God bless you guys. I'm looking forward to just an amazing, amazing life today. And look, if you have not picked up any of the J. Moore, the Healthy Accountant books, you got to go grab a book. Look, you may be saying, maybe I'm not a reader. Look, everybody, they say leaders are readers. And if you associate yourself as a leader, then I've got books that will help you to develop your mind, next level faith, living life on the next level, and beyond tax strategy. These are all books that will help you to develop your mind and your thinking in areas that I know you would like to develop. Next level thinking, next level faith, and going beyond. This is not just a tax book. This is a book on really seeing things different, seeing opportunities different, and realizing that there's no danger. There's no danger ahead when you go into entrepreneurial endeavors. So make sure you grab a book, and make sure if you've gotten a book that you leave a review on Amazon. I need you for that, because Amazon will show the book more because you guys say you like the book. And if you like the books, please leave a review on Amazon. So I thank you guys for joining me for this episode of the I AFYL Podcast. I'm Jim, the Healthy Accountant, helping you to account for your life. God bless, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the Healthy Accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time, make it a great day.